Hello, everyone. Today is Monday, August the 30th, 2021, and I'm here to do a stitching update. If you are new, this is a channel about cross stitch and quilting. My name is Shirley, and I welcome you all in. I wanted to do this. I do have a few little things of stitching. I have an FO. And actually, well, a block FO and then a stitching piece FO. But I really wanted to do this just for life update type stuff. So if you're new here, I am in Northwest Alabama currently, but I am originally from Morgan City, Louisiana. Way down South Louisiana, not as south as you can go, but pretty far. And I have a lot of family and friends back there. So, we've been concerned over this hurricane. So it did take a more easterly route for landfall. Originally, they were saying it was going to hit right there in the Morgan City, Patterson area. So, no matter where it hits, I mean, whoever's in the path of the storm, it's not good. So, it was a pretty strong storm. So, I do have, we know about most of our family that they're okay. The only one that I don't know about is a cousin that lives in Homa, which is where it ended up making landfall, was Homa. I know that her and her husband were staying, and I haven't heard anything, which is not necessarily unheard of, power outages, service outages, etc. So I'm anxious to hear some news from her. So, and also my older grandson Nathan, his COVID test came back negative. So they think that it's an RSV. So, which my daughter said she heard is going around, and my grandchildren are homeschooled, like my children were homeschooled, but Nathan he did make the public schools basketball team here in Rogersville for Lauderdale County, and so he's been, in order to play on the team, he has to go for one PE class every day, and so he has been going to school 1 hour every day, and then, practices and stuff, so... he could have picked it up anywhere, but, he is getting more exposure to sicknesses and stuff than normal. So, but his COVID test was negative. He's feeling better except for a cough. But then his younger brother Malachi started feeling bad over the weekend with same type of symptoms. So just remember them in your prayers. My son-in-law is an Iraqi war veteran and does have what they call Iraqi lung, and so any type of lung issue causes him more trouble than it would cause someone else. So definitely pray for him. His name is Dwayne. Okay, so one more life update. I guess Mother Nature wanted us to commiserate with our Louisiana people, and our air conditioner went out last night. So, yeah. So my husband called this morning, and, we put this unit in June of 2020. So he called this morning, guy shows up, and I looked, just saw like the edge of the truck from my front door, and I was like, that looks like a different truck. But I didn't think anything of it. So he goes outside, he comes back in, and he's like, okay, this is what's wrong with it. This capacitor's out. What is with capacitors? They go out all the time. Anyway, he's like, it's going to be $200. I'm like, is it not under warranty? And he's like, well, we don't warranty these types of units. And I was like, wait. I looked at his patch on his shirt and it was like, you're not with MPE. I'm like, what's the deal? So evidently it's a common mistake that, you know, people search for MPE services, which is the place here in the Shoals that we bought our unit from. And, you know, they click on or look at whatever the ad is that comes up. Well, that's not necessarily that company. So, you know, he's like, well, if I don't change it, you know, you owe me $75 for a call out. So I was like, I called my husband. I was like, why didn't you call MPE? He's like, I thought I did. I'm like, you didn't. Now I got to pay this guy $75 just for coming out when it would have been covered under warranty. Like, we really didn't have that right now. You know what I mean? So luckily we have a card from the first stimulus money, and we still have money on that. So that's what I use to pay it, you know. But I mean, I've got all these medical bills, and my husband's got dental stuff that he's got going on that's costing out the wazoo. And so it's just, you know, those little life frustrations. Thankfully, it's cool today. I think the weather said it was supposed to stick around like 77, which is what it's been inside since last night, you know. And, you know, hopefully it'll be okay. I got fans going in my sewing room. If worse comes to worse, one of the bedrooms is cooler than everywhere else in the house, so I'll go hang out in there if I have to. But, okay, let's get to the stitching after 7 minutes. So I did finish my my coriander Christmas block that I was working on. Let me grab the book and show you what this quilt is going to look like. There's a better picture inside than there is on the cover. Let's see. So this is what it's going to look like finished. This was my backdrop for last video, and you know, I said that they were just laid out, not in the order or anything, and definitely not like how they're going to be, because there's all this pretty sashing and cornerstone blocks, cornerstone pieces, the little stars and the red circle, well, hexagon. But anyway, is that a hexagon? No, it's a pentagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a hexagon. Jeez, can't count. No, cross stitchers have that problem, right? Anyway, so this is what it's going to look like when it's done. I did finish block number 10. It was a little bit of a pain. I had to keep ripping out and resewing. And it wasn't anything with the pattern, because it's pretty much like the rest of the blocks have been, the same type of, you know, construction. I just, you know, something went off with my accuracy on cutting or sewing or something in the beginning. And then when I started sewing it together, you know, it didn't work as well. But I am very happy with the way this center came out. It's not perfect, but it's not quite as wonky as the model, you know, that's in the book. It was really wonky, and I didn't like that at all. So I've gotten that done. Today I'm going to cut out the last 2 blocks, which are the Wrapped in Love block and the Christmas Carols block. So pretty. I love them all. So I'm going to cut those out today, and then the next couple of days, the rest of the week, I will sew those together. This is the bag of pieces that I have. Basically, when I sew these flying geese right here, when, you know, sew this seam. And if you're not familiar with quilting, you know, you have a rectangle of the background, and then you have 2 squares for the corners. So when you stitch this on, you have to flip this back and then cut the excess off. Well, if it's a good amount of excess, I don't waste it. I go, you know, a 1/2 inch from this seam line into the seam allowance, and I sew another line, and then I cut in between them, And that gives me my, block for my quilt plus an extra half square triangle, this is what a half square triangle is. So I have this bag full of leftovers from that, and that's not including the leftover just loose fabric I have. So they do have an extra quilt in this book. I didn't realize, or I didn't remember, but this is the extra quilt that they have, a bonus pattern. So, that's those pieces in that bag is something that I could use, plus the leftovers that I have, the fabric, to make something else. And I could always make, I could make a table runner out of 3 of them. I could make some pillows. I could make, a 4 square, like this part right here could be, a wall hanging. All kind of possibilities. I wouldn't have to make it into another quilt. But of course I could if I wanted to. So, okay, that's the quilting part. Let me get to the stitching part. So I thought that this was going to be a finish. I was thinking that I was done, and then I pulled it out to show it, and I was like, I'm not done. So this is Erica Michaels' sampler book, letter D. This is for, I'm stitching along with Rachel Q Stitches for the hashtag EMABCSal. And so when you saw it last time, I had to finish the letters, and I had to do 2 corners down here. So I did all of that. So now what I have to do is come in and do the grass, which that is the specialty stitch on this block, which is the diamond ray stitch. And then I am also doing, just for my own self, I'm doing a running stitch around the outside of each block. So I have to do that part. So I'll work on that today. I'll also work on my shabby advent calendar today for Merry Monday. And so this is a finish. So last night I finished Little Women. I didn't stitch it all Saturday, other than, I quilted, and then I was sort of kind of hurting after. And so, I didn't stitch. I just didn't feel like it. So, last night I finished this, so I got all of this side of the border done and even signed it down at the bottom. And so I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So I think I'm going to, YouTube, please let this be the thumbnail. Please, please, please. So this is the second pattern from Stitching Book Club that I've participated in, the second SAL. So if you're new here, a SAL is a stitch along. We use all these acronyms, and we kind of forget that people are maybe new and don't know what it means. I know when I came back in 2019 to cross stitch, I was like, what are all these words? But anyway, that's the second one I participated in. I kind of said, I was like, I'm not going to frame them or anything. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I'm kind of thinking that I want to frame them and put them like all together in a little grouping, sort of like, a library. So I have the Sense and Sensibility one that we did earlier in the year. Now it's just a design. There's no wording or anything on it. I know some people have added wording to it. And so I'm thinking about maybe somehow adding Sense and Sensibility to it somehow. And then she has one from before that I want to go back and stitch the pattern. It's Secret Garden. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It was the first one that I saw that was a Stitching Book Club, and I was like, what is this? And then she's doing The Great Gatsby. I've never read that book, so I definitely want to participate in that later this year. And then also The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I mean, we read that when I was homeschooling my girls, but I want to participate in that one as well. I love seeing the designs that she comes up with. But I wanted to point out this little alphabet that I use for my initials or my signature. I was looking through my magazines on Readly, and I don't remember which one it was, but I'll tell you in just one second. Let's see, my bookmarks. Okay, so it's kind of hard to tell on my phone because the wording's not all the way across. So it's cross stitch specials, and I think it was called Animals. But in that magazine, they have an alphabet with, lowercase and uppercase. Like this is one of the patterns that they have in this magazine. And so I bookmarked this spread in this magazine. I don't know if I might stitch some of the birds because I love birds, but I really wanted to have access to that because a lot of times I want to sign my stuff and I just sort of like a deer, like what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do this again? So I bookmarked that, and now I have it in my my PDF markup app. So whenever I do a piece and want to sign it, I have that ready to go. So that's my stitching. So I think I hadn't planned to finish, like I had planned to stitch on Little Women up until through tomorrow. So it's finished. So I have today that I work on Shabby Advent and my EM ABC SAL. And so tomorrow my 3-hour stitching allotment is open. So I think I'm going to go back and do one of the little calendar pieces. I've been doing those with Magazine Monthly Challenge Group. Even though I've decided I'm going to drop that off of my schedule. I'm still going to work on patterns from that. And I didn't even kit up or plan on stitching this at all. But since, I had sort of scaled back on the number of whips I was working on. But since I have that done and I don't have anything else on slot until the 1st, I'm going to go ahead and do the September calendar. These stitch up real fast. And so, actually, I did start it already. I just remembered that. So I've already got it started. So yeah, I'll be able to finish that tomorrow. So I will work on that tomorrow. And then starting the 1st, I'll work on Jessie Watson for a couple of days. So I did want to mention a couple of videos in the last week or so. Shirl over at Tranquil Stitches has posted a couple of little tutorials that are excellent. One of them is on counting your stitches. Now, Shirl is great. I mean, she's got all of her stats. She knows how many stitches she's put in her projects on each stitching session. I don't know what happened right there with the video. Each stitching session, each month, each year, she's got that total going. And so I don't count my stitches, but, it's kind of neat. I mean, I think it's neat, I wouldn't stress myself out over it, like, oh, I have to get these many stitches, but just to know I did this many stitches this year, it was kind of mind-blowing, really. So she shows you on that video how she counts her stitches. So I may give that a little whirl. I'm not sure. I might start on the 1st and see. She's also got one that she did on keeping your stitches neat. It's something like or your stitchers friendly neighbors or neighborly or something like that. Basically, talking about keeping, when you do your stitch, keeping the hole of that stitch ends up in clean, not filled up with that floss, so that when you come in and put another stitch and come up from the bottom, you don't split that thread. I have an issue with that on Ada, even though I follow all of those, rules, those tips of, how to avoid it. I don't know. It happens to me on Ada, and I don't know why. It kind of doesn't make sense. It seems like it would happen more on smaller, things, but smaller weaves, smaller count. But, I don't know. It's something that happens to me on Ada, but it's still, she's got, good information to give on trying to keep your stitches as neat as you can. So I wanted to shout those two things out. That's all I've got. That's it. Waiting on the second repairman to come. My husband said they were going to call me when they're heading my way. So hopefully it won't get too hot in here before they get here, and hopefully that is all it is the capacitor, which I'm sure they have plenty of to change it out. So, okay, guys, I hope you have a good start to your week. I will, I don't know if I'll see you, I don't know when I'll see you again this week. Thursday, we do have our local stitching meetup. This is a slow stitching group called Serenity Stitchers of the Shoals. If you're anywhere in the Shoals area, Alabama, eastern Mississippi, southern Tennessee, definitely come and join us. We meet this coming Thursday, which is September the 2nd, from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock at Calico Rose Quilt Shop in Florence, Alabama. It's on Darby Drive. I will have a link below to our page on Facebook that you can go and check out that, that event. But, I hope you can join us. We have a lot of fun. This is just any kind of slow stitching. No machines, just your hands and a needle or a hook or, stuff like that. So, anyway, I hope you have a good start to your week again. I'm repeating myself. And I will see y'all next time, whenever that is. Thanks, guys. Bye. Hey, y'all. I'm going to pull a Columbo. Just one more thing. One more. I don't know how I forgot this. I found this on Instagram yesterday. I think I was searching for something, and how it gives you all the suggestions below that. This thing blew me away. Blew me away. So, this is the gal right here. This is her Instagram account. She's got a really, really pretty feed. Really beautiful things that she stitches. But this thing right here, this is a masterpiece. Look at that. Look at that. So this is it must be an older Dimensions kit that, you can find them online for well, I found one on Etsy that was about $35. They called it used. They said everything was there. It just looked like it had been opened and it was the packaging was sort of messed up. But, you go on eBay, they sell for a couple $100, even on Amazon. So, then I'm thinking, I can't buy that. I can't pay that. I can't pay anything right now, but, I have this on my wish list now at 123 Stitch because they do have just the pattern on there. And that's fine because I don't think I would have, the kit had Ada in it, so that's not something I would have used to stitch with anyway. Look at that. Those specialty stitches that look like lace. I just can't even, y'all. This just makes me crazy, crazy happy. So that is definitely something that's okay, I have to get that. So I thought, my birthday's in November. I'll tell my kids I want a gift certificate to 123 Stitch. So, but anyway, I just wanted to tack that on because I was like, I forgot to share that. Gorgeous. And that girl, if you're on Instagram, go follow her because she has some really, really beautiful stuff. Okay. That's it. No more Columbo, I promise. Bye.